Welcome to Life of Hair. My name is James Atkinson, and in this week's episode we're going to do a creative haircut, one that I've done on a client in the salon. And obviously when you do a creative haircut, there's times where you're not really following strict rules or structure. You're doing things as you see it, as you feel fit for that specific reason. And obviously we see on YouTube lots of people doing very strong technical haircutting and Instagram and places like that, and it's very, very popular. And I come from a very strong technical background, but also I think it's really important that we can adapt those strong technical techniques into something that is more usable, more user-friendly, and try and use them in a way that aren't so rigid. Because once you've understand those basic principles of technique, finger angle, tension, body position, and all those things, and then also the basic breakdown of the haircut, it's all about taking what you know and incorporating it onto a head in a creative way. So in coming weeks, I've got plans for doing some disconnection videos, and not creating a disconnected haircut specifically, but understanding how we can use these tools to our advantage. So in this particular episode, we're going to see a little bit of disconnection that is very visible and strong, and then some disconnection that is not that visible, but there nevertheless. And then in those subsequent videos that I was just talking about, we'll explain the whys, the wherefores, the pitfalls of creating disconnection, and how it might grow out for your client. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and if you do, then please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already, and chat to me down in the comments. And I have to apologise of late, I've been a bit rubbish at getting back to people, but the number of comments has been overwhelmingly high recently, and that is a wonderful thing for the channel. It really helps it grow and gets other people enjoying and seeing the videos. So it's not personal that I haven't got back to you, but I am working through that list slowly, and my list ever gets longer as the days go on. So thank you for commenting, but equally, I'm sorry that I haven't got back to you. Have a great week, and I'll see you again on Wednesday for another episode of The Life of Hair. First things first, with all of my haircuts, a pre-section. We're going to take a section through the centre of the parietal ridge, which is the ridge on the side of the head above the ear, down to a point in the centre back, just offset from the middle, and then take a line through the parietal ridge on the opposite side. In this instance, we're also going to incorporate the disconnected area at the front hairline. This is a visual disconnection. Neatly secure the hair out the way so that you've got a clean canvas to work on the underneath. There is the line running to the back left hand corner of the head shape, and then right round through to the front hairline. I'm going to start this technique with some scissor over comb. I am angling my comb with the natural curvature of the head. This will automatically build up weight and shape towards the ear. I then elevate the hair straight out from the head. Using the scissor over comb as my guideline, I angle my fingers away from the head shape. This is building up hair and weight towards the back. Once I have created a guideline or a weight line in the hair with this technique, I can then simply scissor over comb up to that line to take away the bulk of the hair below it. This left hand side is going to be substantially shorter than the right hand side. Not everybody agrees with scissor over combing hair when it is wet, and I completely understand their thought processes. The hair obviously shrinks in the drying process, but I will not be making my final refinements to this scissor over comb until it is completely dry. This is just an exercise of removing length through scissor over comb. As I go, I like to do what I call micro refinement, getting a feel for the shape that I am about to create. I will then later shade or carve out these details in much more graphic detail should I like the way they are looking. I'm now coming through the back section of this left hand side of the haircut. I'm started taking vertical sections that I am pulling the hair straight out from the head, but I will pivot these sections towards the centre back. This is enabling me to create over direction towards the crown area and the point that I have created with the offset horseshoe or fin shaped section, shark fin shaped section that I created at the top. I'm subsequently building up the weight to an offset point aiming towards the right hand side of the head as you see it. This will accommodate my disconnection in the back, that is going to be a subtle disconnection or a blended disconnection, one that is not as striking as the piece in the front. Around this right hand side I'm going to use a round graduation technique. I've taken a section on the front hairline that is diagonal or matches the shape of that front hairline. I'm angling my fingers slightly away from the head shape and I'm cutting a square line. This will build up a beautiful round soft shape in this right hand side of her head, unlike the opposite side which is really tight and close in. Each section is pulled straight out from the head shape towards me. This will naturally build up length as we travel towards the back. Note, on these sections I am not cutting all the way through to the outline at the back. This is to build up length and weight towards the perimeter underneath the occipital bone. We will deal with that length later. It will give us some creative freedom because remember, we're building up a shape that is heavier in the centre back but comes down towards the right hand side of her head. There'll be very little to cut off this section due to the over direction and the length of the hair. I cross-check my sections as I go through to ensure that I have built up no finger marks or excessive weight. I then split the top section at the highest part of the head and comb this back triangle backwards and elevate the hair straight up from the head shape and cut a square line. This whole top area will remain disconnected from the underneath. That is why it was very important where we placed this section. Running it through the parietal ridge like that will mean that it will sit flush and even to the head shape. On most clients, this works an absolute treat. Take a vertical section straight down the centre of the head. Elevate the hair straight out from the head, but angle your fingers away from the head shape as you travel towards the front. This will extend the length to the front hairline and give you a sense of softness, and it will amplify the disconnection that I created in the front. All subsequent sections are sectioned off vertically down the head shape and elevated straight up with a finger angle that is pointing towards the ceiling. We do exactly the same on this right hand side of the head. Picking the hair up, clean vertical sections, elevating the hair and cutting that diagonal line that travels short to long from the crown area through to the front hairline. It is very important to take note as you move through the haircut for things that you may want to adapt or change. For instance, through this right hand side, I have decided that I want it to be heavier through this side. I'm going to build up a bit of shape through the use of scissor over comb. I'm also going to tackle some of the weight that I left on this right hand side when I was previously cutting my round graduation. Just through the virtue of scissor over comb and elevation, I have created a slightly softer effect behind the ear here. Once I'm satisfied with the shape, I will then start to remove weight from the top. This is my favourite weight removal technique, channel cutting, one that I want to do an entirely separate video on at some stage. I've been meaning to do this for ages, just not got round to it. Make sure you're happy with the weight distribution while the hair is wet. Dry the hair off and refine with mini trimmers, as I like to do quite a lot when I'm on the shop floor, or go back in and dust it off with a nice scissor over comb technique. I enjoy using mini trimmers on the shop floor though, as they are fast and effective when we're doing commercially viable, creative hair techniques. As you all well know, sometimes we don't feel like we have the time for creativity. However, if you want to be creative on the shop floor, it is then best to find ways and means of doing these things for yourself, and mini trimmers are a great way of refining in a hurry. I've carved out this back hairline to accentuate the weight that I have built up in that right hand corner at the back of the head. And as you can see, the disconnection from the crown area is seamless and blends in with the hair below it, so you wouldn't really know it was there unless you amplified it in the styling. Around this front hairline, I'm going to create a strong geometric line using the mini trimmers and that short piece of hair that I cut in at the beginning. And you will note that in this haircut, right in the beginning, I started to carve out the shape that I am now amplifying with the mini trimmers. The mini trimmers just accentuate the lines in much more crisp detail. A little bit of refinement with scissor over comb never goes amiss in my book. I'm a massive scissor over comb fan, and I will be also doing a video on scissor over comb in the coming weeks. Double checking my disconnection in this back area, just with a light scissor over comb, you can just see the disconnection there through that bottom hairline, and above that is a second disconnection from the crown area. These two very subtle blended disconnections create a very nice point of interest, something that I am very fond of on the shop floor, and I've mentioned in previous haircutting videos. Refining and creating details will what make you stand out from your peers, colleagues and hair salons down the road. So make sure that when you show the lady, man, whoever you're doing their hair, point out the details and the effort that you made to make their haircut unique and interesting, because it will never go unappreciated. And here we have the finished haircut with a beautiful disconnection in the back, a very extreme disconnection in the front area here, and I've styled the hair to her left. Now this will soften and cover some of the disconnection, but it is entirely up to her how she wants to hair this. Left, right, straight back, and she will have a different style every time she puts the product in her hair. She could even wear it down and cover up the disconnection entirely should she so wish. So this is a great way of exploiting disconnection, and a video that somebody asked me for a few weeks ago. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if you did, then please do me the favour of smashing that thumbs up button, hitting the subscribe button if you haven't already, and chatting to me down in the comments. It is all very much appreciated. I will see you again next Wednesday for another episode of The Life of Hair.